Hey there, nostalgia lovers! Welcome to Nostalgia Area. Did you know that in the 1970s, Australia actually went to war with emus? And spoiler alert, the emus won. Yeah, the 70s were wild. It was a decade where disco ruled the dance floor, aliens might have called us long distance, and people paid actual money for rocks. But behind the bell-bottoms and lava lamps lies a treasure trove of truly bizarre historical events that most people have never even heard of. So buckle up, nostalgia lovers. We're diving headfirst into the strangest, weirdest, and most head-scratching events of the 1970s. And trust me, you'll want to stick around till the end, because this list just keeps getting weirder. And hey, if this trip down memory lane makes you want to bring the 70s home, check out the retro goodies we've linked below. From pet rocks to disco lights, it's all there. Let's kick things off with the feathered fiasco that was the Great Emu War. In 1971, Australia faced an emu problem. Thousands of the giant birds were invading farmlands and gobbling crops like it was a feathered buffet. The solution? Send in the military with machine guns. Over several weeks, soldiers tried to take down these oversized roadrunners and failed. The emus were fast, coordinated, and basically bulletproof. Final score? Emus 1, humans 0.
It seems the tables are turned, and there'll be no more damage done here for many a day.
It remains the only war in history where the winning side had wings and no concept of politics. Next up, let's talk about the most explosive civic disaster ever recorded. Literally. In 1970, a dead whale washed up on the Oregon coast. It stank and it was gross. So officials thought, hey, let's just blow it up with dynamite. They packed 20 cases of explosives under the whale, set it off, and showered onlookers with giant chunks of flying blubber. Cars were crushed, people ran screaming, and somewhere a seagull probably thought, this is the best day of my life. It was so absurd, it made the news, twice. First in 1970 and again when it went viral decades later. The 70s were a weird time for consumerism, and nothing proves that more than the Pet Rock. In 1975, an ad exec decided to sell smooth stones in a box.
The Pet Rock, introduced in 1975.
Complete with air holes and a care manual. People went nuts and millions were sold. The man became a millionaire selling rocks. No batteries, no barking, no cleanup, just a rock. It's either the dumbest fad ever or the most brilliant troll in business history, or maybe both. And what's even weirder is that you can still buy your very own retro pet rock today. They make oddly perfect gifts or desk buddies. Links below if you want to join the club. Let's head into sci-fi territory. In 1975, logger Travis Walton vanished in Arizona under mysterious circumstances. His coworkers said a UFO zapped him. He reappeared 5 days later with a wild story about being taken aboard an alien ship. He passed polygraphs, underwent hypnosis, and inspired both a book and a Hollywood movie. To this day, it's one of the most famous alien abduction cases ever recorded.
Just in the street, just like that.
Whether you believe it or not, one thing's for sure, aliens apparently have terrible social skills. Ah, yes, the night disco officially went up in flames. Literally. In 1979, a Chicago radio DJ, whose hatred for disco burned hotter than a polyester leisure suit, convinced thousands of disgruntled fans to bring their unwanted disco records to Comiskey Park for a mass vinyl execution between games of a White Sox doubleheader. At halftime, they blew them up on the field. The explosion tore a hole in the outfield, and 10,000 plus amped up fans stormed the field, tearing up bases, lighting fires, and turning the stadium into a disco-hating mosh pit. The second game was canceled, and the White Sox had to forfeit. The stunt, dubbed Disco Demolition Night, was supposed to be a goofy publicity stunt, a cathartic middle finger to the Bee Gees and all things funky. Instead, it became the night disco died. and punk and rock fans celebrated like it was New Year's Eve.
This is now officially the world's largest anti-disco rally.
Moral of the story? Never underestimate the rage of a mullet-wearing rock fan. Now, for a detour into global weirdness, Idi Amin, the brutal dictator of Uganda, randomly declared himself King of Scotland. A man who had never so much as visited the Scottish Highlands suddenly developed an obsession with kilts, bagpipes, and all things Caledonian. He even demanded that Queen Elizabeth II formally recognize his self-appointed royal title, a request Her Majesty, understandably, chose to ignore. Meanwhile, the actual Scots were like, who invited this guy? And to this day, his bizarre Scottish phase remains one of history's greatest unanswered questions. Was this a power move, a mental breakdown, or just a dictator with really weird hobbies?
He used excessive force that resulted in hundreds of people dead. The king fled into exile.
The world may never know. The story is so strange, they made a film about it. Wanna watch? We've linked The Last King of Scotland below. In 1977, astronomers at Ohio State University picked up a mysterious radio signal from deep space. It was so strong and so unusual, one scientist scribbled "wow" next to it on the printout and the name stuck. The WOW signal. It lasted 72 seconds and was never detected again. Scientists scrambled to find it again, pointing telescopes in the same direction for decades, but the signal never repeated. To this day, scientists can't explain it. Was it a fleeting message from an alien civilization? A bizarre cosmic phenomenon we still don't understand?
Wow.
Or just some freakish glitch, a cosmic butt dial, as if the universe itself had accidentally leaned against the phone. No one knows. But for 72 glorious seconds, it felt like E.T. was calling home, collect, and we missed the call. NASA's first space station, Skylab, had a rough ending. In 1979, it fell out of orbit and came crashing down onto Australia. Debris rained from the sky like a low-budget disaster movie.
The amount of data they learned from Skylab coming down over Australia.
Miraculously, no one was injured, though it was a close call, as some pieces landed near farms and open fields. Australia fined NASA $400 for littering, and yes, NASA actually paid it. Somewhere, a kangaroo probably caught a metal panel and thought, "What the heck is this?" Meanwhile, the event became a quirky footnote in space history, proving that even NASA's failures could be memorable. What do you get when you combine fast food and maritime engineering? A floating McDonald's, of course, because nothing says innovation like eating a quarter pounder while bobbing on the water. In 1976, McDonald's opened a riverboat restaurant in St. Louis called the McBarge. It was meant to be futuristic, but it ended up being fugly. Customers had to cross a gangplank just to get their fries. The whole thing sank. Not literally, but financially.
The riverfront needs to be used. You know, there are a few people down here, but why not use it to its fullest extent?
Turns out nobody was clamoring to risk seasickness for a Big Mac. The novelty wore off fast, and the McBarge was eventually abandoned and left to rust away in a backwater like a ghost ship of failed capitalism. And finally, we arrive at the 1970s most infamous descent into human darkness. The Stanford prison experiment.
The Stanford prison experiment. What if what truly caused that behavior wasn't what we've always been told?
In 1971, researchers turned college students into fake guards and prisoners. The study was meant to examine the psychological effects of perceived power. Specifically, how ordinary people behave when thrust into roles of authority or subjugation. It was supposed to last 2 weeks, but went off the rails in 6 days. The guards got abusive. The prisoners had breakdowns. It was so disturbing, it's now banned as an experiment. The study's legacy is a chilling lesson in how ordinary people can commit extraordinary cruelty when given permission by systems of power. The takeaway? Never give college kids uniforms and unchecked power, or at least not without a therapist on standby. So, there you have it, 10 of the most bizarre, hilarious, and downright unbelievable events from the grooviest decade in history. From exploding whales to alien kidnappings to fast food boats, the 70s weren't just strange, they were stranger than fiction. If you enjoyed this weird trip down memory lane, make sure to hit that like button like a disco ball at Studio 54. Subscribe to Nostalgia Area for more weird, wonderful throwbacks from the past. And ring that bell so you never miss a retro moment. And hey, if one of these moments made you laugh, gasp, or just say what the heck, check out the affiliate links in the description. We've curated the perfect 70s themed goodies to help you relive the weirdness. Got a favorite bizarre story from the 70s we missed? Drop it in the comments. We might just feature it in a future video. Until next time, stay weird and stay nostalgic.